One is extra pictorial, the other I just need to put them into, put them back into the wallet.
Okay. All right, let's get started. Welcome to everyone. Tonight is our nature competition, and it turns out that it's also the very first print competition we've had in over a year and a half. So it's really good to see people here for this. We weren't quite sure how many we were going to get, but I guess we have about in the neighborhood of 50 entries tonight, so that's really good. My name is Mike Cactus. I'm the current club president. Do we have any visitors here tonight? Anybody here for the first time?
New member.
A new member? All right. Would you stand and introduce yourself? We have a microphone for you.
Hi, my name is Wendy Kohler, and I'm a friend of Marge Brady's. And I've always taken pictures, but I've never done anything like this, and she forced me to, so I will be in a B entry next week.
All right, great. Welcome. Any other visitors? Okay, well, it's good to see some faces in here. Up until now, we've had no more than 20, so we're at least above that tonight. So before we get started with the competition, we do have some announcements. We do have a couple of upcoming competitions that we want you to be aware of. October 1st is the bee competition. That will also be a print competition. And again, for those that might not be familiar, bee competition is really designed for students, beginners in photography. And if you join the bee competition, then you can't participate in the regular competitions unless you get a perfect score in the bee. Then they force you to move up to regular. And if you're in the regular competitions, you can't compete in bee. So it's designed to kind of get people into this gradually. October 8th, we have a people and pictorial competition. The deadline for that is September 29th, so you need to have your entries. That is a projection digital competition, so you need to have your entries in through Shutterscore by September 29th. Looks like I'm out of camera here, so let me get back in focus. Again, please be aware that we're trying some things that are a little different tonight, okay? Normally we're in front of the green screen and we're doing the announcements there. Tonight we're doing it on a regular camera. We have cameras on the judges and those participants that might be in camera range beyond the judges. So we're trying some new things, and if things, whenever you start something new, there's always a possibility that something will go wrong. So it's been a bit of a learning curve for us. So we ask you to just be patient with us if things do, we do have problems. So we'll do the best we can. Other things, the only upcoming field trip that I'm aware of at this point is the Belgian draft horse show tomorrow. I believe that is sold out. It is members only. They did ask us to limit it to 20 photographers per day. Bill, are you looking for someone?
I was looking for one of my volunteers for in the judging room.
Okay.
Somebody volunteered. I didn't bring my name with me.
Well,
Okay.
you told me I'll be putting the photos on the wall, so.
Oh, you put them on the wall? You're putting
But
them
if
on
you
the
need
wall?
me elsewhere, that's
You'll put them in the
fine.
judging room?
All right.
Huh? You want to do it in there? In here.
We just drafted somebody.
I just drafted something.
Speaking of draft horses,
Okay.
we didn't draft a horse, we
I just
drafted
drafted two studs.
Okay, 2 studs, okay. Again, that's members only. They did ask us to limit it to 20 per day, and I believe it is sold out. So if you did get there, we hope to see some of your pictures at some point in time. Other items of interest, not official field trips, but October 18th is Buchan, Ohio. They've had several of these throughout the summer, and the last one, I believe this is the last one for the year. So you can see the calendar for some more details. I do want to let you know that fall classes are going on right now. On Wednesdays we have the fundamentals of photography. Saturdays is Photoshop editing, and Mondays Lightroom Classic. The winter session for these classes will be in January. Due to low enrollment, the intermediate Photoshop class has been postponed until January. So we apologize for that, but that's the way it goes. All right, and again, we ask you to be aware that you can watch this and most Friday evening meetings at your convenience at the CPS YouTube channel. And I say most because we do have outside speakers, and sometimes those outside speakers request that it be for members only because they make their living giving these kinds of presentations. So they ask us to limit it to members only, and when that happens, we do not put it out on YouTube for the general public. We will record it, and at some point down the road, those things will be available to members only. There is a link for the YouTube channel on the CPS homepage, or you can open YouTube and search for Cleve Photographic, and you can also subscribe to the channel and choose to be notified whenever a new video is posted. All right, so again, I want to welcome you to our second nature competition for the 2021-22 year. And, as I said, it's our first print competition that we've had in over a year and a half. We do have 3 outside judges that are in the back right now looking at the entries. We have, they told me, around 50 entries, so they shouldn't take too long to go through those. But while we're waiting, we do have a film. It's actually something that one of our former speakers has put together, he and his wife. It's Steve Getty, and unfortunately I don't remember her first name. But we will play that video for you, and when that's done, we'll take a short break, and then hopefully by then the judges will be done. If they go longer, we do have a second video that we could watch as well if we need to, but hopefully that'll take care of it. So, all right, with that, let's get the video started. Shut up.
The volume a little, Rich?
How do you do it?
So it's, we're in Michigan, it's early September, and macrophotography in the field is very weather dependent. Okay, we want low wind, a good dew point that's close to the low temperature. So you see up there's mist in the air, that's because the dew point is close to the low temperature, and then that's when dew and fog form. So I think the dew point today was 55 degrees and the low temperature is 56. So when you see fog like that, that's because the dew point is at or near the low temperature. So that causes dew to form, which is really great for macro photography. So we're here early because we need to go out and find some subjects. So obviously the light is not up enough for us to shoot yet, but what we're going to do is we're going to try to find some subjects to shoot before the light comes up too much. And this is a great meadow for macro photography. We've got nice wildflowers, we've got a tree line to block the sun early in the morning, so we've got a little bit extra time to shoot. Once the sun comes up, we're pretty much done shooting. So it's an early morning pursuit. And it happens 2 times a year for us here in Michigan. best times to do it are early spring and in fall from like mid-August through September and even October. And the reason for that is that time of the year when we get cool nights, cool mornings, low wind, and then we can get some really good, beautiful dewy mornings. So the first thing we do, we come out, we set our gear up, and then we head out into the meadow, and we start looking for some subjects to photograph. So that's what Nicole is doing right now. She's just slowly walking through the meadow, looking for dewy dragonflies, and butterflies, and moths, and spiders, all the wonderful things we can shoot. So we're going to show you how we do things. At the end of the video, we're going to talk about lens selection. There's a lot of options for macro lenses, so we'll walk through the different choices and why we shoot the lenses we do. So here's, we're going to give you some example images of the kinds of images that you can make, and the reason we get our butts out of bed so early in the morning to come out and do this kind of photography. All right, so let's look at some pictures. So this is what I love about doing macro photography, right? Beautiful subjects like this wonderful white admiral. Yeah, a dew-covered dragonfly. All you can do is get up early in the morning and go out and find these things. This is a Baltimore checker spot. That thing about it, that white thing, that's the chrysalis. He just hatched out and then went down to dry his wings, and then overnight the dew formed on him. Just gotta get out and look for him. Every morning it's like a safari. You know, life and death takes place out in these little meadows out all around us. Just never know what you're gonna find. Here's a question mark butterfly. Okay, one of the things that I really love about macro photography is it's accessible, right? You don't need a big giant lens, you need a macro lens, a tripod, a DSLR, and then you need some drive to get out in the morning and go out and find these subjects, right? You don't have to travel around the world. You can do this like most of my macro photography for the first 10 years of my career. My macro photography took place in a little 2-acre meadow right down the road from my house. And I would just get out there every morning and find things. This is an ebony jewel wings, just covered with dew. Right? Some mornings are dewier than others, other mornings you don't have a lot of dew. You gotta get out there and find this stuff. Okay, we can get back off and do more scenes, right? This is sort of more of a picture than it is a portrait. Right? It's an animal situation, vice versa, that kind of thing. Now remember, these animals are cold-blooded. One of the secrets to this is to get out on mornings when it's below 60 degrees, because these animals are cold-blooded. They can't move until their bodies warm up above 60 degrees, so you've got a perfectly moving subject. I found this guy, I clicked him, pinned him up, I walked 100 yards with him, pinned him up, the spider showed up later. Right? Okay? Low light, we're shooting at f/16, f/22. This may be a 4-second exposure. Okay, I'm stopped all the way down to f/22 or f/16 to keep everything sharp. Right? There's not a lot of light, so that I'm shooting 4-second exposures. I go out on windless mornings, because on windless mornings, that's when this beautiful dew forms, and that's when I can shoot long exposures like this. Use the cable release and tripod, so everything's nice and sharp, there's no camera movement. Okay, here's a green darner. Beautiful dragonfly, this thing's about 4 inches long. This is just a study of the patterns and detail on it. There's so many things you can do. This is also very, very accessible. Now, the light, do this as a soft morning light. Macro's all about detail, right? So we want that nice, quiet, soft light. Once the sun hits that subject, the light gets too contrasty, we can't show off that subject. This happens before the sun hits our subject. The other thing I really love about macro photography is photography is an art form that requires the creative side, right? Composition and light, color, pattern, and all that stuff. But there's also a very big component of technical knowledge that's required, right? Macro photography forces you to be a better technician. It forces you to understand depth of field and to get your subject lined up right. So you got enough depth of field, you got everything parallel, so you keep everything sharp, right? This was a cool situation. These 4 autumn skipper dragonflies all huddled together, just covered with dew. A really great find one morning. All right, so the tricky thing is trying to find the subject. One of the reasons that we're here so early is we want to try to find, have time to find a few subjects to try to photograph. So here's the subject right here. It's a beautiful little sulfur butterfly. Stuck in the metal tobacco consistency. And in the middle of the frame, right there. A nice bird, nice flowers or something. So that's a good situation. Now, one of the challenges is imagine trying to photograph you here. I'll take a picture of you here and everyone has to sit back on it. Imagine trying to get your camera in close to this thing. Your tripod's going to knock, vegetation is going to be really hard. So I'll show you one of the secrets, one of the tips, tricks that makes this a lot easier. All right, so we found another great subject to photograph. It's a pretty good situation. It's a little like Seborg butterfly. See him right there? Now, one of the reasons from out here in early spring and early fall is that it's cool in the morning. It's down below 60 degrees. So insects are cold-blooded. And as long as it's below 60, they can't move until it warms up. So that's the other reason to get out here. So once again, imagine trying to get your tripod in amongst all of this stuff to try to get the lens on it. So there's a really great secret that we'll share about how we do this and things so we can get our lens. So here's the instance that we made if we shot the sulfur where we found it. So first of all, it was super hard to get our camera there. I don't know if you remember, but the sulfur was only 12 inches off the ground, crawling around on the ground. Super hard to get our camera in there. There was a bunch of other vegetation. Get a tripod in there. It was just a nightmare to get our camera in that location. And secondly, look at this picture, right? This is a mess, right? The light is okay, but the background is a mess. We've got stems going through it, leaves. It just isn't a good picture. So this is the main trick to doing this kind of photography, is getting this sulfur in a position where we can take a much better picture of it. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that coming up. Okay, so obviously that was a bad background, that was a bad situation. Plus it was really hard to get my camera in there. So one of the secrets in this is we will actually move this. I got a pair of scissors. Grab the flower up here close to the butterfly. And nice nip this off. Okay, now remember, we're out here because it's cold, right? And this butterfly can't move until he warms up. So he's a very willing subject. So I'm going to just slowly walk across the meadow and take him over to our station where we set up our plants. And pin him up so I can get a better background and a better situation. So now we've got the plant set up off the field. And we're just going to come over here. And then I'm going to pin this guy up. Right? Now, I've got a lot of garbage. I've got a nice background. I can shoot both ways. I can shoot down and shoot into this lighter green, and I can also shoot up against these trees and get two different pictures. So I'm going to take a couple pictures here and show you what that looks like. Okay, so now we've got everything pinned up, and we're ready to start photographing. Look how much easier this is. Standing up, subject's right here. I got a nice view of the background. One of the things we like when we go background, all the light is going to go above us, right? So we need to bounce some of that light onto our subject. And we use reflectors. This one's either gold or white, and that will bounce the light on. Or the other thing we use are these little looping cube lights. And they're just little lights and they have 3 stops. And they work really well. These I actually prefer these over reflectors. And I usually just use it on the lowest section, lowest setting. And I just flick it on, and I just shine it on the subject till it looks good, and then I take a picture. We'll put a link to these in the description below. So it's very low light. Right now, I'm shooting background. We were often shoot very small depth of field. Like I have not like F20, F16, things like that. That means there's a picture of shot. I'm shooting ISO 100. 1 second, 1 full second at F1, right? So we need to be on our tripod, we use the cables. The other thing is, we want to use all of that depth of field. We want to make sure that our subject is parallel, so that the back of the camera is parallel to the plane of the butterfly. And that's really hard to tell when you're behind the camera. A lot of times I'll get off to the side like this, and I'll look at the butterfly, and I'll look at the back of the camera, make sure everything's even. All right? So I'll just put the light on it, fine tune my focus, position. Light on it, and then I'll check my histogram, check my focus, I'll zoom in, make sure everything's sharp, and if everything's good, I'm done. Now, because of the situation, I'm going to, because of these different backgrounds, I'm going to lower my tripod, and I'm going to take another picture with that nice dark background. And I'll show you that in a minute too. Let's see what that is. And that will completely change the picture. So whenever you can, move around, change the background, and I do use manual focus when I'm doing that go. Nothing's moving, right? I got plenty of time. Things just sitting, it's not going anywhere. Light on again, bang out another picture. And it looks completely different than the first one. Alright, so now here's the image, the first image we made of the butterfly when it was pinned up. And look what's happening. We're up off the ground, we're standing up, we're much more comfortable photographing. But more importantly, look what's happened to the background. Now when we focus on this butterfly, the background is so far away that it just becomes a nice out of focus blur. Right? There's no background distractions, nice clean image. This is what I'm looking for. Alright, and then here's the image that we made the second one. Now all we did was drop the camera down maybe 18 inches, and then instead of lining up the green grass, we lined up the trees across the field to give us a totally different picture. And I actually kind of like this one better. You got a little bit, the darker background emphasizes a little bit of my backlighting and calls more attention to do. But it's a creative choice, you can do whatever you want to do with them. All right, so when it comes to pinning our subject, there's two really efficient ways to do it. There's this way, which is really cheap and easy, which just uses a plant, like a tomato stick like this, just stick that in the ground, and then you plant your subject up with this. This is just two clothespins glued end to end, and then you clip one end onto the stake, and then you clip your subject onto the other. So, this is such a good panel. Okay, version 2 for putting everything together is using the regularly clamp stake and clamp system. So basically it's a few parts. It's this, which is a clamp stake, and it's got a screwdriver that turns around, goes, and that's the part that goes in the ground. And then it's got a clamp on the end that is fully adjustable, and you pin your subject up to that and move it around. This is absolutely phenomenal. Now, this is kind of short. So what we do is we buy some of the extensions and we put it all together. Put the screwdriver in hand, put that on the ground, and then I'll put the clamp stick on top. Bingo, bango, bongo. Super slick, yet totally positionable. I think this whole thing with all pieces of parts is maybe $100. Once again, we will put a link in the description below. The other thing about this is it's portable. You can tear it all down, put it in a backpack and bring it on. Alright, so here is a photo we made of the Viceroy that we found earlier. And once again, just like the Seborg, we snipped this off, we brought it across the metal to our lamp and pinned it up. And this did a couple things. And once again, got us off the ground. It's up at a high level so we can shoot it that way. And then of course it got a nice clean background. Now the background is far enough away that when we focus on the butterfly, the background becomes a nice out of focus where it helps to separate this from the background. The other thing I wanted to show you with this was the difference with the light and without. So here's a side-by-side comparison. The one on the left was taken without any additional light, and then the one on the right, we used the LumiCube Lytra light on low, just to use it to fill in the light a little bit, fill in those shadows a little bit. And the difference is subtle, but I think it's important, it is worth showing off here. So the one on the right, you see the colors, especially on the butterfly, how the colors are more intense, a little more saturated. The colors come out a little more. I think it also highlights the jewel a little bit better. So it is a subtle difference, but I think it is worthwhile to put the effort in. And then this last image is a that same Viceroy. And now all I've done, this is all about controlling the background, right? So all I've done is I pinned this up in front of a stand of goldenrod, and we've got this beautiful yellow-green background, which once again completely changes the image. So just like on the sulfur, going higher or lower, being a brighter or a darker background, and that changes the image. So that's one thing that I always try to do whenever I'm photograph. If I can take a step left or right, up or down, and change the background, it will completely change the way we use. Okay, as promised, here's the section where we're going to talk about what kind of macro lenses to use. So what there's two things that I consider when I'm thinking about a macro lens. One is the working distance, and the other is the angle of view. Working distance is how close you have to be to get a frame-friendly picture of your subject. And then the angle of view is the portion of the world that the lens sees, and that has a big effect on your background. My goal is I want to have a nice, smooth, out-of-focus background that lets my subject come over. Right? So, all of these images, all six of these, are 6 different images. Each one of these was made with an exposure of 1 second at f16 and ISO 100. The top 3 images are with a full-frame camera, and the bottom 3 images were with a crop camera. All right? So, let's take the full-frame images at the top. So, with a full-frame camera, and then we've got a 60 millimeter from left to right, we've got a 60 millimeter, 105, and a 200 millimeter. So on a full-frame camera at 60 millimeters with a 60 millimeter macro lens, I'm only 7 inches away from my subject, right? That is not a lot of work distance. I run the big, very significant risk of my tripod bumping into my setup or just scaring the subject because I'm so close. In addition, look at that background, right? Because we've got a wider angle of view, we're taking in more of the background and we're getting more depth of field and more background color coming into our image. All right, with the 105, I'm 14 inches away working distance. Still got some stuff going on in the background that I find a little bit distracting. When I move up to the 200 millimeters, I'm 28 inches away from my subject, and that background is completely blown out, nice out of focus. That's exactly the kind of background. So with my full-frame camera, I shoot with my 200 millimeter macro almost exclusively. If I shoot with a crop camera, things change a little bit. Now with my 60 millimeters, I'm 10 inches away. The background is getting a little bit better, but it's not a big, huge difference. With the 105 millimeter, now I've got 21 inches of working distances. I've got pretty good background control. It's still a bit of a challenge, but it's workable. And with my 200 millimeter macro, now I'm 45 inches, almost 4 feet away from my subject, right? I've got much better background, but my working distance is significantly compromised. There's a lot of times you can't get 4 feet away from the subject. Right, so with my crop camera, I tend to reach for my 105 millimeter macro, right? I compromise a little bit on my backgrounds, but I've got a more workable working distance. So the takeaway from this is, if you're going to shoot macro with a full-frame camera, you're probably best to get a 200 millimeter macro. If you're going to use your crop camera, you might want to think significantly about getting a 105 millimeter macro. Now, that being said, if you shoot Olympus has a 2 times crop factor, so that means your 60 millimeter is now a 120 millimeter lens. So if you're shooting the Olympus with a 2x crop, the 60 millimeter is a decent choice for you. So at the end of the video, we're going to put a link to how we've turned our backyard into a macro photography paradise, so stay tuned for that.
All right, that's the end of the first video. You want to set up the second one, Rich? I don't think they're done. Let me go back and check. Looks like they're still working back there, so. Yeah, go ahead and start it.
Really? Oh my gosh, you guys are here early. That's all right. So for today's video, we're going to talk about our backyard bird photography. It's really easy and a great way to photograph our feathered birds in the backyard. So we're going to talk about our blind, we're going to talk about our feeding station, purchase videos, we're going to show you exactly how to do it. So stay tuned, it's going to be a great video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you know when we upload the videos. Stay tuned. Making backyard bird pictures like this is actually surprisingly easy. So in today's video, we're going to show you exactly how to do this, from the bird feeding station to the blind, to actually picking the purchase to make these beautiful kinds of pictures. All right, so here we are at the feeding station. So here's our blind. And there's a few major considerations about setting up a bird feeding station. So number one is location, right? Location is super important. So the first thing we need to consider is the light, okay? So the light is set up so the sun comes up from the viewer's perspective on the left, sweeps across the sky and sets on your right. That way the light is falling on the birds for most of the day. Okay? Now depending on your situation, you may only be able to set up so you have light on the birds in the morning, which is fine, or just light on the birds on the afternoon. Or in some scenarios, if you have trees and things, you need to photograph on cloudy days when it's not real contrast, right? But make that your first top consideration. Okay, then as we come to our feeding station over here, there's some considerations there. Okay, here's our feeding station. So we've got a couple feeding stations. We're going to zoom in and talk more about the blind and the feeding station later, but I want to give you the big overview first. So location important here. First consideration is backgrounds. We want to have nice out-of-focus backgrounds. When we focus on the perch, we want the backgrounds to go nice and out of focus. So we want to have some distance between our shooting perch and the background, so we get those nice backgrounds. The next consideration is our subject's comfort, right? If you look off to the right of the feeding station, there's heavy woods, shrubs, and brush and things. Birds, that's comfortable to birds. They feel safe in there. So we want, they stack up in that shade and they fly from that comfort onto the perch, and that's when we take their picture. Okay, if you don't have a situation like this, I have friends who have taken old Christmas trees and just put them in a stand next to the feeding station so the birds have some cover clothes. That helps them to feel comfortable. All right, the last thing is the distance from the feeding station to the blind, all right? We're in a blind, so we don't have the ability to move closer or further away as the subject changes, right? So we want to shoot, I shoot with a zoom lens when I'm in a blind, that gives me the ability to zoom in for a chickadee and zoom out for a Cooper's hawk, right? So Nicole and I shoot with our 200 to 400 in the blind on a crop camera, and we have our distance up 16 feet away. That way we can do a full frame chickadee or zoom out for a full frame Cooper's hawk. Okay, super important. So next we'll move in and we'll talk about the blind, to show you how our permanent blind is built, and then after that we'll go in and do the feeding station. Okay, so once again, here's our permanent blind. All right. It's made out of tongue and groove siding and 2x4 construction. The floor is just, it's set on top of gravel. I put a plywood floor in it, but it was really simple construction. Covering the shooting area is just a piece of camouflage netting that we just nailed on the front of it. Super easy construction, works really, really well. I'll show you a peek inside here.
All right, so let's take a look inside. Hey, look, here's Nicole.
Hello.
So here's the inside of it. Pretty basic construction. It's just 4 walls, really, with a shooting board. We built a shooting deck here out of a 2x8. We've got a 1/4x20 bolt coming up through that. That way we can mount our heads, our gimbal heads on there. Works really well. We don't have to worry about a tripod in here. We've got the ceiling is just made out of corrugated plastic, which works really well. Lets some light in, and we've got a window in here so we can see what's going on behind us. Nicole had me put bars on here because this is my timeout area.
Yeah, although I don't know that that's such a punishment, but.
Yeah, I get in trouble on purpose a lot. So, pretty easy. Now, obviously, a lot of people are not going to want to build a permanent blind, right? You're not going to do something like this on your property. But if you want to use the portable blind, at the end of this video is a link to a talk you did all about portable blinds, which are great options for this kind of shooting as well. All right, so here's our feeding station. So, it's basically 3 elements. Right? First off, we have our feeder, our main feeder. And it's just built with whole sunflower seeds, and then we have 2 places on the top to put mealworms and a special soot mix that we make. And we'll put a link to that soot mix in that recipe in the description as well. All right, then off to the viewers left is the woodpecker first. This is where the woodpeckers come in, and then at the top of that, we have soot cases, right? So the birds come in, they land on the perch, they hop up, they eat the soot. All right, and then off to Nicole, to our right, is the perch, okay? This is how things look every day. This is how the birds see it every single day. This perch is always here, this big feeder is always here, and this woodpecker hole is always here. So the birds come from the cover on the right, they sit on the perch, they make sure everything's safe, then they dive in and they get the food. The woodpeckers come in, they land on that post, they hop up, they know where the soot is, they get the soot. This is how we do it every single day, all day. This is what the birds are used to looking at. Now, when we photograph, we change things up dramatically. Okay, so when we photograph, this is how we change everything up. Okay, first off, we've taken that big old giant feeder down, we've replaced it with a small cup, right? That way only one bird can get on that cup at a time. That means there's going to be a line form. And that line form is going to form on our perch that we put up. Okay, and then we take the unattractive posts down where the woodpeckers go, and we put up a more attractive post for the birds for the woodpeckers to sit. Right now, we're going to teach you these individual elements. All right, so the main seed feeding station is just an old peanut butter jar lid with a post screwed on the bottom of it. That slides right into a hole. We draw it into the 4x4 post on the bottom. It just fits right in there. There's the same little posts on the bottom of the feeder. So I just pull the feeder off and put this little thing on there. Once again, having a smaller feeder forces only one bird to get to the seed at a time, and then a line forms on their perch off to the right.
Okay, the woodpecker station, same thing. We've taken that ugly log that they're used to sitting on all the time, and we put up the photogenic log that they're gonna photograph. This is just mounted, there's a hole dug into, drilled into the bottom of the post, and I drilled a spike, a landscaping spike, into the 4x4 post, and that landscaping spike just goes up onto this perch, and then I take the suitcase and just velcro those onto the top of this, beautiful post. It works really well. Everything based on 4x4 posts. I've got squirrel baffles on everything. You can just put these into the ground, or I found some stands on Amazon that work really well. All right, and lastly, this is our stage. We've taken away that ugly stick that's on the perch all the time that the birds used to see, and we replaced it with a more photogenic stick for the birds to sit on, right? We're using a plant to hold the perch, and these things are really wonderful. They're totally flexible, articulating arms with a clamp on each end, and you can clamp one onto your post, you can clamp one onto the perch, and they'll hold it in any position that you want. They work really well. Now, perches are the absolute key and creative part of doing backyard photography. This is where you get to be creative and make the pictures that you want to make. So next we're going to go into, we're going to show you some of our images and some of the perches that we use to talk about the different perches. This is where the real artistry of this is. So we're going to have a slideshow and show you some images and some perches on how to select a great perch. So the perches. As we mentioned earlier, the perches are everything in this. This is where we get to put our own artistry into the work. You guys probably recognize this perch. This was the woodpecker post that Nicole and I put up in the video earlier. So for the woodpecker perches, we're just looking for many of the woodpeckers like this downy. There's not going to be a lot of perch. So we just want to add some texture and some color and something that's going to really set off the bird really well. And we're looking for good poses. We're lucky enough to have a couple of affiliated woodpeckers that come in. And I like that this perch is a little smaller, right? It's not a really super thick perch. You can see all the way around the branch, and it really shows off the size of the bird pretty well. Plus there's interesting texture and bark patterns on it that really show it off well. So for this image of this nuthatch, this is one of the fun things about sitting and doing this from a blind. This isn't cropped at all. This is exactly how I shot it through the camera. I mentioned they have a zoom lens. This is super handy for this. So a lot of the times when a Kritzer or something like that comes into the yard, most of the birds will ditch into that cover so they feel safe. Some birds, like nuthatches, a lot of times downies, will just freeze, and that's what this guy did. So this was actually like a quarter of a second exposure at f/16, and I was able to zoom in really tight and get it exactly how I want it. And then of course we've got that wonderful depth of field and that super stop down situation. So for the songbirds, perches are a little different, right? We've got to pick something pretty for the birds to sit on. There's usually going to be a little bit more going on in the picture of the bird. But what we want to do is we're making a picture. We want to think about where the bird is going to sit, right? And this was exactly where I wanted this little chickadee to sit on this milkweed. I had this whole picture in my head, and I knew the milkweed was going to fill up the right-hand part of the frame. And then it's just a matter of sitting there waiting for the bird to get in the right spot to give you a good position. And sometimes that takes a long time. But the artistry really is in the perches. So your Carolina Reds, these guys are little posers. It's a tail up like that. They just really love to pose. All the rest sit really well. Okay, seasonally, red breast does not have a pine bough. One of the tricks is leave your perches out in the weather so they get covered with snow and ice and they give you more of a story. Right? And you can even sprinkle a little snow on your perches if you shoot in the winter. Nicole and I photographed the birds a lot in the winter. Winter is one of our favorite seasons to photograph because the birds look great. Plus they come in more, they're at the feeders more because there's snow on the ground. All of their food
is covered in snow. And obviously, it makes for some dramatic and cool pictures. So some perches are easier than other perches. This is a difficult perch, right? This bird, it's hard to get this bird. He's got to sit just the right spot. It's pine needles, so they're not really comfortable. Sometimes you've got to spend a lot of time to get the birds to sit in just the right spot. So if you're doing just a lichen covered branch, obviously that's going to be an easier perch to get a bird to sit on. And again, having that zoom lens, having that ability to zoom in for a chickadee and then pull back for a bird like this blue jay really increases your opportunities to shoot different birds at different situations. Again, you love the photograph in the winter because that's when the birds look great. Get out when it's snowing. That's part of the story. Make sure you're out there working the seasons. Okay, but get out at the other times of the year. You get a whole different set of backgrounds, right? Your backgrounds have more color in the spring. Obviously, the birds are in. These goldfinches look pretty drab in the winter season. And goldfinches like this, they will stick together. They come in a flock of 5 or 6. A lot of times you'll get 1 or 2 or 3 on a perch at a time. Right? These are just apple blossoms. Think about where the birds are going to sit. The birds are typically going to sit towards the higher end of the perch. Okay, so think about that. Think about that in your composition when you're selecting your perch. Okay, another difficult perch was this fern frond, right? Kind of flimsy, so birds don't sit on a lot. So we invest a lot of time trying to get this bird sitting here. Now, typically, I said earlier that the birds will go to the highest point. But because the highest point of this fern frond is going to be super flimsy, this chickadee knows that, right? So he's going to sit back where the stalk's a little thicker and he's going to support his weight a little bit better. Then of course, in the springtime, we've got beautiful flowers that we can photograph the birds on too. So, next thing we're going to talk about is another option for a blind that people don't think about, actually photographing out of your house. That's coming up next.
Here's an idea. Well, that is a big blind.
That's absolutely right. Set up a feeding station outside of a window or outside of a doorway by your home, and you can shoot right outside the window. I have a lot of buddies who photograph this way. It's a great way to do it. Just think about the 3 things. Make sure you've got light that you can use to photograph. Make sure that you've got some cover in the area so the birds feel safe, and keep an eye on those backgrounds. In our next video, we're going to show you our in-ground blind complete with reflecting, which is how we made all of these images. It's really creative and cool. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you can be informed when we upload a new video. Thanks.
Okay, those are our 2 videos. We have been told that the judging is complete, so let's take about a 5-minute break so we get a chance to load the images, and when we get back, we'll get the judging done.
Grammarly does more than catch errors.
We get a Photoshop.
Once a year, twice a year. Fundamentals just really get a significant amount each time. I'm just going to be a few, then it's just more efficient to do it.
When it says extra
you were introduced to this. Well, I mean, just basically, it says black and white nature.
It just was. It is. So no, it's just fundamentals for the part. So it's just the fundamentals. Yeah. Well, the first one was when they bring the camera. The cameras are much smaller. It's like we did lenses the other day. And we show them things on the lens. The first one we show where the buttons are. That's 12 weeks. Next week is
Basically, only first and second. So it's 7 or 8 each bag.
yes.
First and second, on this side. Everything else is over here. And so we're just going to have to...
Looks like the live streaming.
I'm actually going to ask you to do that.
Yes.
That way you're walking down, you were just walking around, all this guy decided to hear that side.
They have the Ave are all watching us. And the Ave are all watching us now.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite birds are there.
Well, okay. You're comfortable with that? There you go. That works, so they can get through that.
How many do you take turns?
Yeah. All follow in succession. Yeah.
Okay. So whatever photo comes up, you're not.
Yeah.
We get that.
I'm probably number 1, she's 2, you're 3, that's probably usually
Yeah.
it's all start. Over the years, you got that little thing coming out.
Yeah, the mic on there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Do you need to push a button or anything on here?
No, once, well, probably the on button's right here, once it's on. Of course, you want to make sure if you want to make a side comment, turn it off. Or, what did you say? No, yeah, there you go, now I got that. So you hit it once, you hit the red button, it's just muted.
Oh, okay.
You hit it again, and now we're talking.
Yeah, so hers is red, and I wondered why you
That's not
red. I'm
good.
gonna use it on.
That way, if you want to make a side comment with it, no one's going to hear you.
But there could be 2.
I doubt it.
Flying around, especially in the wintertime, it's so awesome.
What's all that for?
You guys got those on, know how to turn them on?
I got them on. I'm on mute right now.
On and
Figure it all
mute.
out. Yep.
Works outstanding.
Oh, you're good. No problem at all. Yes.
For anybody that is still looking for a name tag, okay, we kind of got behind in sending out some of those, so see me after the meeting and we'll see if your name tag is here, okay? Couple seconds here, we should be ready to go.
Good evening, all. Welcome to today's nature competition, the first print competition in over a year and a half. Glad you all came. Tonight there's, I believe, 46 images. It's a little off, but this is the first time we've done this in person for a long, long time. Some people are still a little reluctant. So a lot of judges were very reluctant, so I thank the judges for coming in. And with that, while they're working on a couple of technical issues, I'm just going to ask the judges to introduce themselves, talk for a couple minutes, and Glenn, would you mind starting things off?
Sure, no problem. I'm Glenn Petranek. I've been coming here and been with the group for a long time, judging way back when this place is on Superior, which I think probably hardly anybody here remembers, but that's the place where if you came out, you were hoping your car was still there.
That's the truth.
Yeah, if there's valet parking, no, don't let them take your keys. But I've been lately specialized more in urban landscaping type photography. Not totally, I still do a little bit of nature, other stuff, but a lot of interest into urban landscape, especially urban exploring, abandoned places, buildings, things like that. I also sell my work for a living. I do art shows. Unfortunately, 2020 had nothing, but it's come back with a vengeance this year. I can't believe shows I've had where I sold more than 100 pictures of these shows. So I mean, it's been going really, really well. The only question I have these been sanitized for my protection?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good, thank you.
And everybody else's afterwards.
Oh, that's even better.
I'm Sylvia Banks, and I'm like Glenn. I have been coming to judge for you ever since you were on Superior. And I understand what he means about hoping the cars don't come out, you know. My favorite thing to photograph is nature abstracts. I love to do that. But I love nature best of all. So I like to do the pictorial because it's totally different from what I do. But, and I love coming here because I think all of you are pretty good photographers.
Thank you. Brian Wilson. I mainly photograph waterfalls, also probably sunrises, sunsets. Do a lot of exploring waterfalls. I know probably more waterfalls than anybody else in Northeast Ohio. Most of them actually on private property, but I judged once for you guys on the online competition, so this is my first time doing it in person. But yes, I agree with what she said that when we were reviewing the pictures with that, they were all good, so.
We're just about ready to get started, I think. But that's Pictorial, the fox one. That's the first one. Good? Okay.
We'll see.
Okay, this is the first we're doing this way, so that's why we're trying to work a few bugs out. And I believe we're ready to get started. So Glenn, if you would comment first, just so you know, 46 images with the way the scores fell. There are firsts and seconds. There are no thirds or honorable mentions tonight. That's just the way the scores fall. That's the way it breaks down. So with that, we're going to start with nature. And Glenn will start us off with comments.
Great image of the fox, especially the lighting on the subject itself. It really stands out from the background, looking right at you. I really got the texture detail of the fur. I would like to see it a little bit tighter. I mean, it shows the environment he's in, but I would still like to see it a little tighter.
This is Miss Foxy Pup by Bob Kowaleski, 22 points.
Okay, I think this is very interesting because of the way the lighting is on the breast of the birds. But we had trouble with this. We had trouble because we didn't know what we were looking at first. It was either upside down or sideways or, yeah. So I think the birds need to be a little bit more distinguished from the background. Otherwise, it's a very interesting shot.
That is Tandem Trumpeters by Roger Summer, 17 points.
This one of the Blackbird, one of the things I really thought was nice is the exposure was where you could still see some of the detail in the black of the bird, but also the coloring in the wings, the orange and yellow, were not overdone and were nice. So generally a great exposure of it. So I don't know that there was anything I would criticize in this one at all.
That is Blackbird on Cattail by Richard Hayder, 22 points.
The maker did a good job of the placement and exposure of this particular subject. The background's nicely muted. Whatever flowers are kind of bristly and they pop out. You can see the little prickles on the stem, so it's very nice and sharp. And I think the fact that on the lower left-hand side that you didn't let that get into a merge with the side definitely is a good idea.
That is Root Beer Falls Thistle by Gary Merrick, 22 points.
I think this is a really great shot of a blue heron. It looks like it's in detail from what I can see. The only thing is, and it's good to have a bird with showing the environment around it, but to me, it detracts from the bird. The bird has such wonderful fine texture and color, and the background, I keep going to the background, and it's nice too, but it's distracting, I think.
This is Taking Flight by Dennis Wirt, 21 points.
This one, it's a neat capture with, I think it's an osprey with some sort of fish. I probably would have cropped it maybe a little closer if that was possible without losing too much quality. So I thought that was good. I don't know what the white marking on the fish was. That kind of puzzled me a little bit about it.
This is Dinner Time by Joe Vanacek, 20 points.
The image is kind of whimsical in a way. It's got an interesting background. It's the flower that's kind of centered in the brightest portion of the image there almost looks like it's talking to you. I mean, it kind of looks like some sort of mouth or something, which is kind of almost a little bit disconcerting. But I think it was interesting at that point. Being said, it's almost too much background where the image itself, you're losing some of the plant. I like it. Maybe just tone it down a little bit, maybe a little bit darker, and you still have the impact you're looking for, and then the detail of the flower.
This is titled September Charm by Vicki Wirt, 23 points, second place.
Yeah, okay, it's sharp, the flower is sharp, and the background is a little dark, I think, and too much contrast for it. If you're going to take a single flower like this, it's best to make it off-center a little bit, because once your eye goes to the center of the photograph and it stops there, then that's it. There's no place for your eye to go. It's dead center. It's interesting too because the background is so dark, but there's this spaces and shapes in the foreground that's also takes your eye away from the flower.
This is titled Yellow Flower by Rich Foley, 19 points.
Hey, Brian, you would get this one, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is my type of shot, something I would shoot. I really did like it the way you can see up the creek and the water flowing down through. And then actually your eye kind of follows the water the way it goes. And I like the detail on the rocks on both sides of the creek also. So to me, a nice scene place I would like to be hiking at. As far as ways to improve it, I might have given a little more space at the top just to see what's above the creek there, but other than that, it's a nice shot.
This is titled Avalanche Gorge Glacier by Bob Kowaleski, 24 points, first place.
There's very nice lighting on this, which I think was really what makes the pictures, the lighting. Because other than that, I think you'd have the tonality of the mushroom and the background would blend too much. But in this way, it pops out nicely from the background and plenty of texture and detail, a little bit off center, which is nice.
This is Shroom by Dennis Wirt, 20 points.
That's not right?
No.
No.
You're not,
They didn't have the
oh, okay.
picture of
I thought you were talking to me.
I thought you were talking to me.
You're looking for a mushroom.
We just go through
Okay, yeah, this is,
Hang on a second, I'm trying to get
They're
this.
trying to get this
I'm
right.
trying to get caught up, Sylvia. Technical difficulties.
After the one with the waterfall, it went right back to the ponds.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get find the right pictures.
Go ahead and work that bug out, huh?
I guess not.
We go on to Pictorial and come back. You want us to go on to Pictorial and come back? I do that, or we'll need to take a break and get, some of the pictures didn't get in there.
Are the pictorial ready to go?
I think so. That's the first one?
did you want me to comment on this one?
No, we'll put that back and we'll pick up on,
Yeah, let's take a couple-minute break till we get this figured out.
okay. If you guys don't mind, just
Okay.
chill.
You'll check.
Anybody got a good joke? I spoke too soon.
Yeah, I'm glad that canyon showed in the first place.
Yeah, someone's actually
That's my type of shooting.
Yeah, there was two separate cards.
I love, when I said I like to draw picture abstracts, my favorite thing was, is water and water reflections.
Well, yeah, my label's are wrong spot, so, yeah, I'm not gonna
By
say.
abstract, do the abstract process.
No, that's what I see.
I get some what I like is sometimes on the shore.
Okay. I didn't like the way it printed out anyway.
Like if there's been waves, gold out.
That was highly zoomed in too, which did, when you fix it on the computer and then it prints out, it's like,
If you're a photographer,
like that one,
we see things.
the color is off on that one.
We're always looking around.
I know.
If you look at the photo,
But there's a period where I can tell people that this, I feel like I'm going through life with a
my
list.
focus was on the flying jet ski. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
My wife
I was hoping everybody hit. Because both of them were like idiots. I was waiting for it.
see if maybe come out and send us a picture. She'll try anyway. Yeah, you're right. You know, 'cause you learn, you kind of learn shot about stuff. What's going to make it good picture? Because it's something
Straight up.
good in the eye, but the camera's not going
Right, right, yeah.
get up to that.
Well, this past summer, somebody that I hadn't seen for quite some time said, "Oh, are you still photographing?" And I said, "That would be like asking me if I'm still filming." You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. That's the way I like it.
Yeah, I saw it. Not only that, but Brian got more. With his ninja doing it. And then President, he's turned around and sued Texas over the same thing. Yeah.
They're doing recon sessions someplace every 4 or 5 days. I started to get fear.
Yeah.
You need to know,
It's a need.
Okay,
yeah.
It's
go back to the
mountain.
sunrise. Okay, so it's next picture,
Sure.
and we announced that one.
Yeah. We did do that.
I commented on that one.
Yeah, we did. So we need to go to the next one. That's the next one. There we go.
That's one. Yeah, okay.
Thank you for your patience. Okay.
I like the graduation of light here, where you're going from the dark, the bottom of the picture, and moving all the way up that mountain, that wonderful detailed mountain, to the sky. It's a beautiful shot.
And that is Sunrise, Painted Hills by Richard Hayder, 21 points.
This one, I like the pose, especially with the rock and the one bird sitting almost on top of the rock. Kind of a neat setup where they were. The exposure was maybe a little dark on the rest of it, though on the birds, their head and stuff was fine, so that was good. Not sure if it quite had the sharpness that I would have liked to see on some of it, but otherwise a nice capture.
That is Herringgold's Portrait by Roger Summer, 19 points.
I thought it's an interesting capture of the two birds like that. It's almost like they're kind of content, almost like a little snuggle, and just kind of nice feel. I almost wish there was a little more separation from the background. It's kind of all the same monochromatic type of tone, but yet it still carries forward.
That is Mates for Life by Bill Keaton, 20 points.
Okay, this is like an overall shot of flowers. I'm not really sure which one is the center of attention or the center of interest, so it's the grouping is good. If you're going to do a grouping this close, you really need to get the whole petal in. If you can't get the whole petal in, it looks like you intended to get it in, but you didn't quite make it. So, my suggestion is either, or maybe you did get all the petal and you got it in a frame or a mat that's too small. I don't know. But I would suggest that the next time you do something like this, make sure that all the petals are shown.
This is titled Brown-Eyed Susans by Gary Merrick, 18 points.
Yes, I like this one, especially we looked at it up closer and some very nice detail and sharpness in the head of the praying mantis. And the background was pleasing, a nice blur to it, so the praying mantis stood out. Perhaps the piece of plant down in the bottom with the spider on it distracts a little bit from the praying mantis itself, but in nature you're stuck with what you have.
This is Green-Eyed Monster by Vicki Wirt, 24 points, first place.
Nice capture on the heron. I mean, a little bit of action there, spraying the wings. You got plenty of detail in the wings and so forth. This is the only thing with the type of lighting here. It also tends to blend into the background a bit. So what happens is you see all the other elements kind of make it tough for the bird to really pop out from there.
This is Heron Display by Belinda Prince, 20 points.
I think it's a good placement of this nodding flower. Some of the background is a little distracting, but overall it's pleasing to look at. Since your eye goes to the lightest part of the frame, my eye is going back to that white spot on the leaf behind it. Maybe you could, in processing, you could kind of try to darken that up a little bit.
This is New Bud by Rich Foley, 20 points.
This one I thought was a good capture of this blossom on a cactus. Some nice detail here.
Time out.
Sorry.
Back to the mushroom.
Yeah, okay, we're not sure what's going on. It seems like it only takes a certain number of pictures in and then it loops. So we'll get the rest of them in and then we'll work on it later, trying to figure out. Left off. That's the picture we want?
Yes.
All right, hang on a minute. We have to reload it. It seems like it only loads a row at a time for some reason. We don't know why. Okay.
Okay, like I say, some nice detail on this blossom on the cactus. Another nice thing, did get all of the petals of the blossom in the photo. Good sharpness on the middle of the blossom, so overall, a little nice. I might have cropped it out a slightly more, but a nice photo.
This is Cactus Flower by Seborg, 24 points, first place.
This is a great action shot of the eagle. I think I like the position of the head where it really pops out the white feathers against the darker feathers from the other side of the wing. Great timing, great capture.
This is titled Intense Dive by Bill Keaton, 23 points, second place.
This is almost like a flower portrait, you know, because of the dark background. It's very sharp. I like the placement of it. I love the fact that there's water droplets or rain droplets all over the petals. It makes it another interesting touch. Nice shot.
This is titled Daylily After Rainfall by Marge Brady, 23 points, second place.
Yeah, some nice sharpness on this shot of the owl. And nice closeness. It looks like he could be peering at the photographer. I probably would have liked to see the background a little more blurred, perhaps, just to make the owl stand out a little more.
This is Shake That Thing by Fran Moreno, 23 points, second place.
Very nice scenic, a little bit muted in tonality. Kind of almost an ethereal look. Probably could have got a little bit of fog in there, but what really helps is the darker stems of the plants in the foreground gives you at least a sense of depth and going back into the picture. Maybe would like to see the foreground maybe darken down a tad, but other than that, looks good.
This is Valley View Metro Park by Seborg, 18 points.
This is almost like an abstract because it's just the center of this flower. So I see it as an artistic attempt in a flower. No, I like it. It's nice.
This is titled The Heart of the Flower by Marge Brady, 23 points, second place.
This one, I think it's a multiflora rose, some nice sharpness on it, and the drops of rain or dew are nice. Sometimes I see photos where I think there's too much dew, but this one does not reach that point. It's a nice level of dew on it. Nice kind of portrait of this flower. And the background is muted a little bit of green there to add that coloring, but overall well done.
This is titled Pink Rose by Fran Moreno, 20 points. And that concludes the nature part of the competition.
Moving on to Pictorial.
We'll move on to Pictorial. There are 22 images, and that's not the first one.
Good catch.
You ready? Not yet.
First one is that building.
Yeah.
Dark doorway.
Five.
That's it. Okay.
Okay, a nice shot of this structure here. I really enjoyed the texture and the shading that's on the old wood. In a way, kind of monochromatic, almost could be done in black and white. To make this stronger, I almost wish there was something in the doorway, either a person, object, something. I think that would just be enough to really kind of set this off a little bit.
This is Enter the Darkness by Bill Keaton, 20 points.
I like this one. I like the lighting in it. It's an overall shot, so I'm not sure what the center of interest is, but that really didn't bother me because my eye was going over looking at all of that interesting stuff there. So I like the placement of the lamp in there. Nice, I like it.
This is titled Train Station by Rick Mills, 23 points, second place.
This one, nice action shot with the jet skis. Nice background with the lighthouse also. Probably, and again, you're racing against the time hitting the shutter. Might have been nice to see a little more separation between the two jet skis in the photo. Again, that's kind of hard to do when they're moving pretty quickly and you're taking a shot.
This is called Look Out by Joe Vanacek, 19 points.
It's pretty good on the cute factor here. The little girl outfit, obviously in some mud with her horse. There's nice curls down the back. I think a couple things, the hat and the horse head itself is almost a little bit too hot. I'd like to see that, toned down with a little more, possibly texture in it. It'd be nice to see the side of the face. But other than that, it does carry off, it does tell a story.
This is Ready to Ride by Rich Foley, 22 points.
I thought this was a very unusual shot because it's just so different. I've never seen anything quite like it. The objects in there and the figure, very beautiful figure in front. I like the fact that it's black. I think it's black and white. Lots of tonality between the white and the black. So it's a good shot.
This is titled Winter Goddess by Jackie Sayeski, 24 points, first place.
This is a nice one of some sunflowers. Oftentimes when you go to shoot them, the sky may not be real well, but I think the sky in this one, the pastel blue of the sky, really helped set out the sunflowers, as well as having a little bit of the green at the bottom. So overall, a nice capture of these.
This is Sunflowers and Bees in the Breeze by Belinda Prince, 18 points.
I think a real nice human interest with the child there. I think the fact is nice. She's very intent, looking at the little flowers in her hand, just like most little kids will do. Maybe have one for mom or sister or something. This is once again nice all human reaction picture. Lighting is actually a little bit silent on the other side of her face, but in this case it carries through.
This is titled Mini Botanist by Kritzer, 22 points.
It's another interesting plant or flower portrait. I like the angle of the leaves and the placement of the flowers. I like the fact that there's just one plant or one flower that's in full bloom, and that seems to be the center of interest. So that's very nice. Good lighting.
This is Pale Orange and Green by Seborg, 22 points.
This one I thought was an interesting scene, a bit of mystery with the figure in the picture. Sometimes I don't like pictures that are too crowded. This one looks a little bit crowded, but you needed that to capture the scene here. So I thought that was okay, even though there's a lot of busyness in the background of the picture. It really sets the scene.
This is titled Egyptian Alley by Richard Hayder, 23 points, second place.
It looks like it does 9 and then loops, so we'll get the next 9 up.
Yeah, hold on.
We're just going to do 9 and then we'll do the final.
Okay.
Okay. This is a great human interest shot. Obviously, he's enjoying the ride a little more than she is. And I think what's nice compositionally, the diagonal really helps on that. So it's a good, strong composition. Color lighting's great. Maybe something more that's appealing to the family, the people involved, but still, with her look, good human interest story.
This is called This Would Be Fun, You Said, by Marge Brady, 19 points.
Okay, let me get this one right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna announce that I think this is an abstract, because we had trouble figuring out what was top, bottom, side, finally figured it out, and it's like a design. So that's the way I see it. It's just a design. So, and good for the maker who actually saw this, because it's unusual.
This is titled God's Natural Sparkle by Fran Moreno, 20 points.
another mountain type shot. I've traveled out in some areas like this, and yes, they're beautiful, and this is a beautiful capture. I like the foreground with the different rock there, kind of some erosion going on, and then the mountains in the background, and you're blessed with a beautiful sky to set behind them. So overall, a good capture.
This is Candyland at Escalante National Park by Bob Kowaleski, 23 points, second place.
I thought this was really a well-done portrait. From the subject matter, his uniform, his pose, the lighting behind him, I mean, really can't find fault in anything. It's just a very, very well-done image.
This is titled Zor Reenactor by Jackie Sayeski, 24 points, first place.
Okay, this is an interesting shot of Cleveland. It looks sharp. It's almost like an abstract because as a scene, there's, as far as I'm concerned, there's too much in it. There's too much information. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at. So it's just like an overall design almost, but it's interesting.
This is titled Rock and Roll at Dusk by Rick Mills, 20 points.
Somewhat an interesting scene here, an old building with chairs set up, and then the looks like from a black and white film picture in the middle. Lighting in there was pretty good, which can be difficult in some of the, when you're doing an old building like this, you obviously don't have natural light, working light, so you have to deal with the natural light coming in the windows. So the lighting was nice and even. The way the chairs are positioned, it draws you to the picture in the center of the photo, so nice work in getting people's eyes to kind of follow to the subject there.
This is Gilda by Roger Summer, 22 points.
They're a great shot of an antique type of office with that thing in the middle that no one will know what that is anymore. I guess they used to write letters on it and things like that. But well lit, well exposed. I'm not sure, looking out the window, I don't see a whole lot interesting behind it. I don't know if there's a different angle where you could have had still all these wonderful details, but not as much window. But other than that, it's just, once again, you pick up all the wood texture, you can probably read the keys in the typewriter. Really nice.
This is Station Master Desk by Dennis Wirt, 20 points. My eyes crossed.
This looks like it was taken on a cliffside. I'm just guessing. It looks like rocks and then, yeah. So it's good that the line is not dead center, but it's about 2/3 of the way over. So the placement there is good. Nice colors. It's probably sharp. I can't tell from here. Interesting shot. Flowers.
This is titled Goose and Black-Eyed Susans by Gary Merrick, 19 points.
Another one with a nice human interest. The girl definitely looking happy and kind of excited where she's at. Intently watching something, we don't know what, but overall a nice exposure. A little bit blended in with the background. Might be good if in some processing, maybe make her stand out a little bit more from the background, but a nice shot of her, nice smile.
This is Scruffy Little Princess by Karen Kritzer, 21 points. And now we're going to take a minute break to hear from my sponsors.
Sure.
You gonna break into song, Bill?
Oh, I wouldn't subject them to that.
Thank you.
No way.
Oh, got it.
Okay.
Ready.
All right, this is great still life. I mean, it's from the background to the lighting on the camera and the little cases and so forth. I mean, it's very well done. I mean, it's you pick up all the details, not overblown. It's a classic. Just like the camera.
This is Kodak Moment by Vicki Wirt, 24 points, first place.
I thought this was really neat. I love the swirl of her dress. I like the placement of the figure. I like the background even. It looks like there's almost like a face of an animal or something in there, but the background has so much texture, it makes it more interesting than if it was just plain. I like the fact that her dress is red, and that's really draws your eye. So I think it's well done.
This is Dance With Me by Jackie Sayeski, 23 points, second place.
Another water sunset scene, somewhat nicely done. I like the little piece there with the chain up front. Gives you some sort of some grounding to the picture and an idea, the view that you're actually standing there and watching the sunset. Probably one thing, and again, I do a lot of sunsets at water too. It's nice when the water's a little smoother and you get a nice reflection and get some color in the water. The water on this day was a little bit choppy, so you're stuck with that, but otherwise a nice shot.
This is titled Lakeview Sunset by Rick Mills, 19 points.
This girl looks familiar. I've seen her before, but anyhow. Yeah, what's good? Nice human interest. It's hard to get to look close. Obviously, looks like she's just thrown a rock in the water. There's a little bit of a splash there, and she's watching that. I really think in this one, she's too close to that edge there. I think probably shifts it over a little bit. I know a lot of people are, too afraid to get anything centered, but sometimes you need to get a little more in the middle there, and because what happens, I think the space in the upper right just kind of gets lost, because the real action is her and that splash there.
This is Skipping Stones by Karen Kritzer, 21 points. And that concludes tonight's presentation. Thank you very much to the judges, and everyone safe travels going home.
Let me just again thank all that participated tonight. It's good to see so many faces in the clubhouse. Thanks again to the judges. And again, please feel free to wander around and look at the pictures. We do ask, though, we do have a cleaning person that is supposed to, close up the place. And, so don't hang around too long. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to give you something you didn't have.
I got plenty.
I get glory.
Yeah, no,